I've been playing this game for a long time, since April 2015, when a friend at school handed me his phone with Stereo Madness on it. This means that I got to see the release of Geometry Dash's most famous level, Bloodbath, as well as the period of time where it reigned as the hardest level ever made. It also means that I got to see the release of the level that dethroned it, but not Phobos, not Sakupin Hell, and not Conical Depression. I'm talking about Acropolix by Blast CFB. I think that this is a level which should have been an instant classic. After all, it was the first level to surpass Bloodbath in difficulty. I remember watching the verification video when the level released in mid-2016 and deciding that the skill required to pass parts like this must be genuinely inhuman. And I also genuinely believe that this level would have gone down as a supremely popular level had it not been for RobTop snubbing it and withholding the star rate it deserved. The level and its verifier, Blast CFB, have both faded into obscurity rather than gaining the immortal fame that could have been. It took 9 years for the level to finally get a rating, and by this time there were hundreds of levels whose difficulty and decoration far outstrip that of Acropolix. Also in those 9 years, however, I've been increasing my skill drastically. With my newfound skill, and with the level finally being given a rate, I decided that it was finally time for me to beat the level that terrified me as a kid. My first impressions of the level are that the transitions are very, very weird. You can dodge this pillar, and you can dodge this slope, and you can still die based on how you fall into the upside down ship portal. Like that. And you can also, with the wave, be on track to dodge this bottom spike here and still die anyways. Again, because of how the ship portal works. So what I've done is I add a tiny little click before you fall into the portal. There. That is really consistent. Pretty much every transition into every new part of this level has some sort of invisible portal or other thing that's just really, really awkward. You have this firework orb ship, and you have this orb going into the portal. And it looks like you can just hit the orb and hold and do the wave, but there's actually an invisible gravity change portal in here, which makes it seem like it would be really hard, but actually it's fine, because if you look here, we have the spikes on top, the spikes on bottom. There's a spike missing here right out of the transition. So you can hit the orb, hold for longer than you would think, and then fall and do the spam. It initially looks easy, then it looks hard, but then once you realize sort of how it works, it's easy again. Thankfully, my progress didn't seem to be hindered by this at all, and I instantly got some good runs to the end, like 76 to 100 and 54 to 100. And from 0, things seemed to be pretty easy too, getting new bests left and right. I made it all the way to the hardest part of the level, the 44 to 45 wave, with pretty minimal effort at this point. 44, yes, I died to the transition, which I shouldn't have done, but whatever. Now, after reaching this wave, I really expected my progress to slow significantly. After all, it has the hardest timings in the level, and lots of really strange moving objects, and just lots of nuances that are impossible to adapt to. But I got a bit further into the wave, getting a new best of 49, twice. And then, after those 249 deaths, I just sort of passed the part, and I got an insane new best. 70? What? What? This is the part where I got way too confident. I started to believe that I could beat the level in a single day, but I quickly got humbled. I would start to die to the 44 wave a lot more, which was honestly fine because I expected that. It's the hardest part of the level. But what really started to sort of get to me mentally was all the deaths to the not that difficult ship part right after. It was just really demotivating and frustrating, feeling like each time I would struggle through the hardest part of the level, I would just die. You know, having a mind block on the easy part right after the hardest part is really, really difficult, and I felt like every chance I had at beating the level would end in the just dumbest ways imaginable. I just don't know. What am I doing? I just genuinely want to get through this part. I just want to get past this. I just can't pass this. Oh, come on! I died to it again! Are you serious? I just don't understand. Why is this so hard for me? It's just a straight line. That was a 2.2 thing. The orbs again? Are you serious? No, I'm so dumb. Ah. Oh, why is this this ship so hard. It only took me about an hour to learn the whole level, and that 70% death was just 20 minutes into going from 0. But I would spend 3 hours after 70% just dying to the 44 wave and the ship part after, and eventually it was just too frustrating, and this level is really spammy, so my hands started to hurt, and I just decided, you know what, stop for now, take a nap, maybe even play it the next day, and just see what happens after I sleep on it. Okay, I've been playing for just hours, and I am frustrated and my hand hurts. The voice crack was super intentional. I was very frustrated and my hand hurts. So, I guess that's it for day 1. Now, waking up on day 2, this requires some context, but there have been multiple levels where I learn it one day, I go to sleep, and the next day I'm instantly better, or I'm struggling on a part one day, I go to sleep, and the next day I just instantly pass it or I beat the level. So because of this, I had the idea that waking up on day 2, I was going to just magically beat it first try. I would be able to just open the level and beat it, which didn't happen. I started out instantly less consistent than the day before, and even worse, the thing that I really was hoping would be gone thanks to the sleep was the mind block at the ship, which did not happen. 6-7 again! Yeah, 67. Not an auspicious start, but thankfully after those 2 deaths, the mind block just magically vanished. No! 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 I threw so bad. And again, immediately. Having gotten 2 attempts to the last wave, I was really sure I was just going to beat it the next time I got to the wave. And while I did get back to the wave really fast, beating it isn't exactly what happened. Why do I always do this? After that, because this level hates me, I became completely unable to pass the 73% mini wave, and things were just as depressing today as they were yesterday. But that means that when I did beat it, it felt amazing.
Second drop right now.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, this level made me work for that. Alright, I beat Rubrum. 1,354 attempts. Definitely a very low number. Now, for this section of the video, I've created a little formula to give it a score, similar to what Technical and Multiverse have made, 2 really good extreme human grinders. I will be awarding levels up to 100 points, the max point score of 100 being the best, 0 points being the worst. Gameplay is by far the most important part of a level to me, so 75% of a level's score will be based on that. Decoration is of secondary importance, but still relatively important, so that will be 20 possible points. The remaining 5 points are for the song. Now, the gameplay of this level is questionable, but also I strangely enjoyed myself. It was a lot of frustration with things like the 54 ship and the 44 wave, both of which are just really weird to play, but also when you do pull them off, it is extremely satisfying, especially the moving object parts. Somehow dodging all the moving objects just feels like you're unstoppable. And the ship movements, even though they look really weird and they're not exactly the most orthodox ship movements you would have to do in a level, it does feel really just nice to do. On top of this, even though I'm not a big fan of spammy gameplay, I was just sort of surprised at how that didn't detract from the level. I was really terrified that because of the spam I would hate it, and it just wasn't actually a factor into the level's enjoyment at all. So this is gonna sound insane based on the rage that we've seen, but I would say this level gets a 60 out of 75 points for the gameplay, and I did have a good amount of fun despite being really tested by the level in terms of my patience. Decoration is a lot harder to decide. If I were gonna give it a rating comparable to levels of its time, it would get a pretty high score. I really like how it's cold and claustrophobic and hostile, and the moving objects, it has a certain atmosphere to it. But I'm making this video in 2025, and I do want to review levels based on the current modern vantage point, because I want the score to reflect the way a current era player or creator would approach the level. I want people watching the video right now to have an idea of how it would stack up to other current levels that you would otherwise be playing. I'm gonna give it only 10 points out of 20 for decoration. I do really like the atmosphere, I really like how it looks, but I am trying to factor in the modern era and modern levels, so obviously it hasn't aged the best, and lots of new levels have come out that really overshine it and overshadow it. But I can also say that it hasn't aged the worst of 2.0 levels. For the song, I'm just gonna give it 4 out of 5 points, which is really good because I am super easy to please when it comes to songs, and Fracture is a song which I have a very strong amount of nostalgia for, considering how many levels I've played that use it, like the original 9 Circles level Fracture that's all pink, Balangu and Baoshu Vortex, this level, Necropolis itself, among others. This means that I'm going to give the level a total score of 74 out of 100, which is definitely not a bad score by any stretch of the imagination. Honestly, I really recommend you play this level. If you like this level at all, I say go for it. Genuinely, despite my pretty bad experience and some frustrating stuff happening, I was really expecting this to be like the worst level ever, and it just simply wasn't. Not perfect, but lots of enjoyment to be had. Especially if you're a player with a lot of nostalgia for this, then it's worth it to beat it just for that reason alone. It's always amazing to be able to beat a level you've dreamed about beating for years, so seeing this get rated, it was pretty much predetermined that I would beat it, no matter how good or bad the level is. Thank you for watching the video, because this is the first video I've ever made, so recording this and uploading this right now, I just have zero idea whether this will get any traction at all, any views at all, so like, subscribe, share, whatever you can to boost it. I can say for certain that this is going to be my first video, but I can also say for certain that it's not going to be the last video. I have many other things planned, working on, even finished, and just ready to go. Thank you.